Welcome back, everybody, to Two Guys and a Stack of Comics here with our weekly What is in the Stack, the best new comics of the week. A very big, but also weirdly shaped stack for this week. 9 total books this week that I think are worth checking out. A great week with DC, 5 entries this week from them, 3 from Titan Comics, which had an amazing week, and Marvel with just 1 title that I do think is worth checking out. So, as always, let me know what was your guys' stack. What you guys think down below of these books if you checked them out. If there's anything you think I missed, let me know. I'll kind of start with the book of the week for me, and that is Savage Sword of Conan #9. Patrick Zurcher doing the majority of the work on this one. Just an incredible Conan story told in this. It's a story with Conan and Valeria. Um, Great pirate action, great action sequences, incredible dialogue between the two characters bouncing off each other. This has such a great look and feel of a Conan story. And overall, it was really, really engrossing. If you just look at the pencil work in here done by Zurcher, it's absolutely fantastic. You don't get ripped off on any scene. There's so much detail in every page. You see so much of the characters, their facial expression, the visceral combat in this. It was an absolutely standout issue. All the Conan things that you'd want to see in it, some action, some intrigue, some romance, some suspense. Fantastic stuff across the board. This was a great, great book to read. And again, it's a little bit high on the price tag of $6.99, but you get so much for this thing. It's about a 50-page story. In the back, there's also a Fabian Nicieza and Sean Shen told the Conqueror story. That's pretty good as well. But overall, this was the best read that I had this week. Savage Sword of Conan has really, really hit its stride as of late, and Patrick Zurcher just knocked it out of the park on that particular issue. Mentioning Patrick Zurcher, he also would be the second entry for this week, which is Solomon Kane, the Serpent Ring #4, completing the miniseries again. Zurcher is doing so well in these Titan books, and as a writer and an artist, he is just absolutely killing on these. You get these really epic confrontations in this comic book with Solomon Kane. Really threads the needle on all of this adventure that Solomon Kane has been on. Great character work for both, Solomon Kane, the supporting cast that he has in this book. And I think one of the rare things with a miniseries and where I really appreciated this is to have a 4-issue series, roughly about, under 100 pages. He delivers a clear-cut, concise, but expansive narrative that really fits. We know the Serpent Ring and Tathamon and all that is going to play a role later in the year with Conan, with another crossover event that Titan is doing. This really seems to set up a lot of the pieces for it, and it was just a solid, fantastic run in this. Really good letters page at the end from Patrick Zurcher where he kind of teases as well that there may be some future things with Solomon Kane. This was a fantastic read. Patrick Zurcher's knocking out of the park on both of those for Conan and for them. Titan has just done such a good putting the talent together on this. Rarely, Conan the Barbarian would be the third book on it. Most of the time, this would lead the stack. And again, this is not a mark of how bad Conan was or that it wasn't great. This was a fantastic issue from Jim Zub and Dagnino on art. Just what you come to expect from Titan and from Conan. We have a fantastic issue here. Conan has been kind of captured. He is forced to be a gladiator. And we sort of see all the strengths of the character in this book. Dagnino does a fantastic job on the art. The action scenes are really cool. They're very concise. They're very brutal, visceral. They absolutely fit what you'd expect out of a Conan book. And the cool thing that they really get to, and this is where Zub has done such a good job on this book from issue 1 up through now, Conan as a character just truly shows through in all of these books in that he shines as this barbarian who is brutal, who has this absolute will, but he's always one step ahead and smarter. And that's the heart of the character. And so the way Conan is able to kind of manipulate events at the end, the last page surprise of a reappearance of a character like Zula, who has been in a few of these issues before, was really cool as well. Just so excited with everything Titan is building with the Howlerverse on these. And it just seems like a different era, a different quality of comic books when you read a Titan book with what they did with Solomon Kane, Savage Sword, and Conan the Barbarian this week. 3 absolutely fantastic reads. Could not recommend those highly enough. Perfect scores for all 3 of those books, in my opinion. And I don't mean to sound like just a fanboy who's just saying things about these. I just really would emphasize from an art standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, from a character standpoint. These are the best comic books you will read. Titan is absolutely killing it on those. So a great week from Titan. Always great when there's multiple Conan releases on the same week. Strong week from DC Comics as well, in particular with Superman, which is pretty appropriate given what's going on with Superman, the movie, and everything coming out. One of the highlights of this week, Superman Treasury Edition 2025. Now, the price point on this might scare some folks away. It is $14.99, but I believe you do get about 100 pages of content. Dan Jurgens, classic Superman writer. Then you get Redondo on the art. This is just a really great Superman story facet. It shows all the great facets of the character. Dan Jurgens touches on so many of the past events. You get Cyborg Superman and Lady Maxima as the villains in this one, which was really cool. There's so many bounce backs between Superman's past. You get the oversized, obviously, layout of this. Revisits all the classic Superman moments. It's just an absolute showcase for the character. And you get some of these just amazing two-page spreads like this here that just look like posters off the wall. This was truly a surprise. The price point is a bit much, but again, you get stuff like this right here, this great two-page spread, kind of showing so many of the great moments of Superman's life. Also really liked one of the covers they had here that just kind of shows the world of Superman in DC Comics. You get a great moments from the Justice League. There's some cool Batman moments in this. There's some cool Martian Manhunter moments. Wonder Woman, Lois Lane really gets a showcase in it as well. This really just captured everything great about Superman. Was absolutely thrilled to see this on the stands. Again, price point's a bit high, but I do think you get some bang for your buck with that, and that is an absolutely worthy Superman story that I would recommend for folks. Pivoting to another Superman book that was really strong this week as well, and it's great to see Big Blue get some things right in the comics end. Action Comics 1088. You get Mark Waid on this with Patridge on the art. This is again revisiting kind of the early formation of the Superboy sort of adventure. So they're kind of putting those back in there. So Clark's early adventures as a superhero. I'm not sure how everyone feels about him debuting as Superboy before he debuts as Superman, but it's so well written. There's such an earnestness to the character that Mark Waid shines through in this. I really got to give Patridge a lot of credit. I thought the art was pretty good in capturing a younger Clark Kent, a younger Ma and Pa Kent. And overall, this was just a satisfying Superman adventure. I think one of the coolest things that we're seeing from Action Comics, the Superman main title, and like that Treasury edition is DC really seems to have honed in on who Superman is as a character again. They tried to push an edgier, angrier Superman with the new 52. And at least for the main continuity, they really seem to be delivering a lot of just thrilling Superman adventures where you see the earnestness of the character, his strength, his compassion, and everything that makes him great as a character. Pretty cool little cliffhanger to this one as well. I would certainly recommend this. I think Mark Waid's doing a fantastic job on Action Comics. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one continue. Third Superman book that would make as well very similar to Titan. You get a lot of Superman this week that was great. Absolute Superman #9. Now this again, this not so much the true representation of Superman as a character, but I do think the Absolute Universe is kind of honing in on who their Superman is. And so you get a lot of escalating elements with this book. I was not the biggest fan of the first 5 or 6 issues, but I really feel since they've kind of expanded this Lazarus plot, introduce Ra's al Ghul kind of as the antagonist for some of this. And again, I think it's interesting to borrow some of the Batman mythology over into Superman for this different universe. Again, if the whole point of the Absolute Universe is to sort of shake the snow globe and have things go to different locations, I think it works pretty well. There's some really cool moments with Jimmy Olsen in this. There's some good moments with Lois Lane as well. And I do think the building plot between the Lazarus Corporation, Al Ghul, the Peacemakers, Superman, the Omega Man, all of these things are sort of coming together. There's some pretty cool action scenes that are in here. And there's a little bit of intrigue about what's going on. There's this father box device that's in there. There's also this mystery character that would seem to be Talia Al Ghul, would be my guess, who's interacting with Superman. Overall, I just think this was a really solidly written book, and I'm not the biggest Jason Aaron fan, but I feel like this has really got on its footing the last 3 or 4 issues, and I'm excited for where it's going. And what makes it work so much better is when you've got stuff like the Treasury edition, when you've got solid Action Comics stuff, when you've got solid Superman main title, when the Clark Kent of the main DC universe is doing really, really well and there's entertainment there, you can enjoy the spin-off books like this because if you want your classic Superman, you've got a plethora of that over there, whereas this gives you a little bit of an alternative, and I think that's a great balance that DC's hit. Last couple books that I'll mention here, two more from DC. Again, mentioning these late is not kind of an indication of the quality of these being not at highest. This was just a fantastic week for comics. And so Batman and Robin number 23. You continue to see Philip Kennedy Johnson do some great work on this. We've had this sort of escalating mystery happening with Batman trying to track down this mysterious sort of demonic kind of killer that's out there. What is really interesting to me in this book is what Kennedy Johnson is doing such a great job is I think the examination of Bruce Wayne as a father. And, I've been doing some content on the channel lately talking about Batman, the world of Batman. I'll have a couple videos next week talking about some of the issues I think that have been plaguing the mainline Batman books. But where this book to me is really standing out, the absolute kind of rounded character Bruce Wayne shows here. There's a fantastic scene where Bruce is just worried that something is going to happen to Damian because of the stakes and everything that's happening in this, plot that Kennedy Johnson's designed. And what's really cool is you get this awesome scene of Batman diving to the rescue, which is just fantastic artwork being done on this. But then you get right after that, you get this great scene where realizes his son's okay, and you get him kind of apologizing and comforting his son because Bruce's stubbornness kind of caused some problems earlier. And I thought that was such a highlight of the character. And that, look, Batman is my favorite fictional character of all time. I think one of the reasons that Batman has sometimes had his books struggle is there's this tendency, what fans call bat jerk, to just make him this unfeeling kind of character. And what I thought was really cool is to see genuinely Bruce Wayne caring as a father, caring what happens to his kid, empathizing. That moment to me felt so earned with what's been done in this book and the relationship that's been built between Damian and Bruce over the course of the last 20 issues of this series. Overall, I think this was a fantastic issue. There's a really cool cliffhanger to this. I'm really excited to see where this will go. And I do hope that Kennedy Johnson will continue on this book for a long while. Again, I think it's Miguel Mendoza on the art for this. Really well drawn as well. You get some great Batman stuff. But I thought the balance of getting some awesome Bruce Wayne stuff, plus some things that shows the full rounded character really works. And I appreciate the heck out of that great Batman book from them this week. Last DC book that I will mention, Aquaman number 7. I really liked this Jeremy Adams run. I think he has done some interesting things, kind of exploring the more mythological elements of Aquaman. And this book is an absolute game changer in terms of there is some major events that happen in this book with the spoiler kind of alert here, but sort of what appears to be the passing of Mira with her dying in the comic book and sort of a time displacement thing that shows that, all the supporting cast of Aquaman has kind of grown up a bit. And I do think if Jeremy Adams sticks with that, it's a game changing sort of scenario that he's set up. And what I do like about that quite a bit is I think Aquaman is a character that you need to go a little bit over the top with a little more bombastic actions and huge stakes. And I think plugging into kind of a mythological element, different universe, different things, I think it's worked well and it serves the character well. Overall, I think it's a great book, and I think this just shows Jeremy Adams' strengths as a writer. There's a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, some emotion in the book. I think he just does a great job. He's the new Jeff Johns. He seems to have a voice for a lot of these DC characters with what he did on Flash, what he's doing with Green Lantern, and what he's doing with Aquaman. Very similar path to Johns. Would certainly recommend that. If you kind of slept on Aquaman as a book, it's nothing amazing. I'm not going to tell you it's like the best book you'll be out there, but it's just solid superhero entertainment. And I think it was absolutely worth your time to pick that one up. Really light week of Marvel, and even the one I'm going to recommend is more tenuously recommending because I've enjoyed the series. Red Hulk with a new issue this week. I believe this is issue 5 or issue 6 for this one. Jeff Shaw on the art, and then you've got Ben Percy writing. I've really liked this story, and so why I recommend this is I think it's just another interesting chapter with this. What I'll say with Red Hulk is I like that Ben Percy didn't overthink this. It is tied into One World Under Doom, but largely this has been a large prison break book. And so Red Hulk has sort of been recaptured in this. It sets things up. Look, it kind of reminds me of a good Michael Bay movie a bit, in that if you think about the plot for too much, you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if you just want to see some bombastic action, see some explosions, see some fight scenes, see some decent character work and one-liners and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of enjoyment to be found with Red Hulk. I think overall, as a series, that's been good. I know that won't be a hit for everybody. And again, largely, I started picking that up just because my kid, as you can kind of see in the background, is a huge Red Hulk fan. He just absolutely fell in love with the character. And so, as a dad, I wanted to have a comic book for him to read later when he grew up a bit more, since he seemed to like the character quite a bit. I've enjoyed it though. I read it. I think it's a great angle that they've taken with it, and I think it's really enjoyable. Sadly for Marvel, the rest of the week for them was really poor. Mike and I will kind of be here on Monday to talk about Fantastic Four and what I think was really, really a bad week for Fantastic Four in terms of comic books. Sort of the opposite of Superman, whereas the Superman books seem to be rising to the level to help the movie. Really seems like Fantastic Four is falling off a bit, and that seems to be to accommodate the movie as well. So we'll talk about Marvel being on a bit of hard times there. But overall, I think there were 9 great books to check out for this week. Let me know, though, whether you agree or disagree, if you liked these, if you didn't, if you checked them out. If there's something you thought I missed, please let me know down below. But a great week for Titan Comics fans and Superman fans. As always, folks, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. We'll catch you in our next video.